Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week on the upper tier. This is your match reaction. Champions League Group A first game. Napoli versus Liverpool. Napoli 4, Liverpool 1. The goals from Zielinski on 5 with a penalty and 47. Zambo Agusa on 31. Simeone on 44. And Diaz with the consolation for us on 49. I really don't know where to begin with this. I was on Twitter before the game listening to Liverpool fans, and I questioned the lineup. And I was being told that he had picked the strongest team he could. And I made the point that he's picked Gomez, Milner, and Firmino. And on the bench we have Artur, who potentially was nearly beginning to look like the new Ben Davis. Maybe we should have given Juventus a season ticket for him instead of a fee. Jota, Nunes, Thiago, Matip. Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. And this has to lie with Klopp as well, this one. And this isn't a Klopp out kind of thing. I'm far from Klopp out. But I mean, his selection at the moment is absolutely bewildering at the minute. I just don't get it. I don't get it that his persistence, even his in-game persistence with it, just magnifies the problem even worse. You're looking at a Liverpool side that's void of ideas, doesn't look fit. Everything seems a struggle. Barely can put passes together. No awareness of what any other player is doing. Very little link-up play. You've got Mo Salah at the moment, and it has to be said, is absolutely stealing a living. Stealing a living. Let's have this conversation. Tell me otherwise. Tell me otherwise. Unbelievable. Stealing a living. Lads, thanks for joining me in the comments. Ted, as always, big supporter. Fair play, Niall, never hiding. Absolutely, Ted. I'll be here, rain, sleet, or snow, whether it's 10-0, 15-0, or an 8 or 9-0 win against Bournemouth. You will find me here with match reactions. Kane's in the comments. Kane, how are we? Kane was on the other night. Thanks for coming on, Kane. Embarrassing. Played off the park. Milner stays in the Liverpool jersey. Should be over. Gomez nowhere near good enough to be playing week in, week out. Matip on the bench. He should always start to fit. 100%. Myself and Kane were talking before the game. And I was explaining to him that these guys on Twitter, they must be absolutely out of their mind. They just can't see. They just cannot see it. They don't get it. These problems have been around all season and we've been getting away with it. And all we keep on talking about is this bit of luck. I just don't understand where Liverpool finds itself this season constantly talking about a bit of luck. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Nunes on the bench, 80 million quid, 65 up front plus add-ons on the bench. Bobby Firmino starting, who has been shocking. It's unbelievable. Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't give an absolute damn tonight about his defensive duties. I watched him cross balls where he didn't even pick out someone. He's looking down at the ball when he's kicking it instead of looking up to see who he wants to pick out. Just lobbing aimless balls into the box. Same thing again. Repeat and rinse. The same bullshit that ends with nothing. Nothing. Unbelievable. Thoughts on the first half? Lucky to be only 3-0 down. Could have been 4 or 5. Crazy. Gomez, absolutely shocking. Switched off. No awareness. Being manhandled off by the ball and not being goal side by a guy half his size. Absolutely shocking. Joe Gomez, have a look in the mirror tonight. Seriously, have a look in the mirror tonight. James Milner, shocking. Absolutely shocking. Guaranteed a yellow card nearly every match inside a half an hour. Simply not up for it. And simply not up for it when Thiago was on the bench. And I don't want to hear that he's only had 2 training sessions. I don't want to hear that Artur has only signed. If they're on the bench, they're good enough to play. Simple as. I don't want to hear it. Oh, where do I begin? Firmino not in the game. Trent once again abandoning his defensive duties, just jogging back. Didn't care. Mo Salah, an absolute spectator, may as well have bought a ticket for the game and sat in the front row over there on the far side. Absolutely shocking. Shocking. Whole team's body language is shit. Terrible. Their body language is shocking. No leadership on the pitch at all. Remember last season when we had the back four and you'd see Van Dijk marshalling guys, telling them what to do, being really, really vocal, holding his defence together and stuff like that. Hasn't said a peep this season. Sits there at the back, bewildered by what's going on. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You're the guy at the back. You're the leader at the back. How many times have I said it this season? The leaders on the pitch. Harvey Elliott, a young lad. Carvalho, a young lad. It's bloody shocking. Shocking. Where's the leadership? Where's all the leaders? Where's all these guys that are potentially captains for their country? With nothing to say. Want to go hiding. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No one interested in stepping up. Everyone just wanting to hide. Second half. Shock horror. Matip comes on for Gomez. Straight away, we're a little bit better. Obviously, we gave up the goal early, but we're a little bit better. Unreal. And then, of course, Diaz pops up with his trademark goal, cutting in from the left across to the right and into the far corner. He scores those goals for fun. Came back in the comments again. I know it's only early days, but God, Benfica must be rubbing their hands together after getting that fee off us for Nunes. Kane, all I can assume is that I think he will come good, but I don't think we're playing to his strengths. I think we've brought a striker into the club and we're still playing 4-3-3. And we knew there needed to be a change of formation. The formation is all wrong for Darwin Núñez' strengths. And if you don't play to a player's strengths, it's like Salah at the moment. Salah's hugging the sideline at the moment. He's doing absolutely nothing and having no impact. Same thing. Ted, back in the comments. Diaz less than a year in the club and seems to have more heart and desire than the rest of the boys. 100% Ted. He was the only one tonight between himself. I know Harvey tried hard but didn't have as much of an impact as he wanted. But the boy just looks tired and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But the camera at one stage went to the bench and Firmino was there and Salah was there. And the look on both their faces absolutely said it all. They both know they should have looked at each other and said, what the hell was that? Neither of them put in a shift at all. An absolute joke. Harvey Elliott, and I'm not going to go in on the boy at all. I love the boy. He looks absolutely wrecked. He looks like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's carrying that club on his shoulders at the moment. All those other senior players, have a look at yourself tonight. Harvey Elliott is carrying the weight of that club on his shoulders. It's shocking. Everything at the moment looks forced. The team looks drained of energy. Van Dijk is second to everything. Virgil van Dijk is second to everything. It's absolutely shocking. He looks absolutely shattered. The whole team looks absolutely shattered. Where do we go with this? What's the highlights? What highlights can we take out of this absolute drubbing in Naples? A result that will be spoken about for a long, long time. And look, it's not been a good ground for us to go to anyway. But it's the manner in which you lose. It's the manner in which now Klopp has to try and lift those guys for a game against Wolves. A real tough game against Wolves. And then we've got to face Ajax. So the games are going to come thick and fast. They're going to be tough. But it's absolutely shocking to see the performance. Ted back again. Not defending Salah here, but is Trent's huge drop in form and seemingly work rate and desire impacting him because he's being forced to go out onto the touchline where Trent used to be. The link-up play is definitely disjointed, Ted. There's no doubt about that. But there's balls played into Salah that he can't even control. There's balls going out of play that he can't even trap a ball. He can't bring a ball down. He can't bring a ball to the byline and turn it back in. He's not making those runs into the box. He doesn't beat players anymore. Look at what he did tonight. Even when he had the ball, he tried to control the ball. There was a perfectly good ball played out to him on the wing. No one near him. Goes to take the ball down. The ball runs out of play. So I'm not taking anyone defending Salah anymore that it's someone else's fault. This guy has been shocking since the AFCON. Shocking since the AFCON. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. He's got his new contract with a hefty pay packet and he looks more switched off than ever. Shocking. It's leaders we're looking for on the pitch, not lads looking to blame other people. Absolutely shocking. Let's look at the stats of the game, if we even want to. They don't even tell a story, to be honest. If you look at the stats at the moment, shots on target, I think it was 8 versus 7. Shots off target, 4 versus 2. 6 block shots versus 6. It was even. Possession, 43-57. 57. But what are we doing with that possession? Lobbing balls into the box, absolute waste of time. No sort of energy going up the middle. Bobby Firmino, anonymous. But where do we begin with it? Corner kicks 3-12. 12 corner kicks we had tonight. 12 corner kicks produced nothing. It's been the same old story. You can produce as many corner kicks as we want, but if you don't pass the first man or you don't pick out someone in the box, you're absolutely wasting your time. And look at who we have in there. Look at who we have in there at the end of that match. Van Dijk, a monster. Matip, a monster. Darwin Núñez, a monster. Not one of them getting on the end of the ball. How can you take a corner kick and practice all week long and not be able to pick out one of those 3 in the box? It's shocking. Shocking. Highlights. I think Luis Diaz comes out of the game with a little bit of a positivity, let's say, because he ran his socks off and tried his best. Thiago obviously coming back was a big positive. Arthur looked decent on his debut. And Alisson, of course, we have to give him a little bit of benefit here, even though 4 went in, but he must feel like a space invader at the back there with what's standing in front of him at the moment. Absolutely shocking from everything else. Huge amount of work for Klopp to do over the next 2 to 3 days. Those boys are going to have to recover. But I'm telling you now, at the weekend, if I see James Milner, or I see Joe Gomez, or I see Bobby Firmino, I'm absolutely gonna flip right out. I've had enough. I've had enough of this sentiment. Klopp needs to do the business. He needs to figure out what's going on there. That team at the moment looks absolutely jaded. It looks knackered on its feet. Everything looks forced. It really needs to get a hold of something there, and he needs to figure it out. Those boys need to get into a room tomorrow, and a heart-to-heart needs to be had, because something isn't right there in the background. That team is a pale shadow of the team that was 2 weeks out from doing a quadruple last season. God help us with the quadruple we might do this season. Let's get into player ratings. This is going to be a tough one. Right, player ratings. Let's go full screen for my poor old eyes. Let's start with Alisson. I gave Alisson a 6, even though 4 goals were shipped. Saved the penalty and stuff that, saved a couple of other efforts and stuff like that. So I gave him a 6. Really, really difficult night for Ali in goals. Defence is just all over the camp. All over the camp, especially on that right side with Gomez and Trent, is absolutely shocking. Even Fabinho tonight, struggling to get hold of things and stuff like that in the midfield. Milner in there. Elliott trying his best. Salah, literally no impact. Diaz pushing it as hard as he could. Firmino, non-existent. Here's the ratings. Alisson, I gave a 6 to. Although 4 goals were shipped in, it's difficult to pin them on him and stuff like that in the defence. He saved a penalty, 2 penalties in the game and stuff like that, but there could have been a few more. There was a couple of opportunities. Gave him a 6. Trent, I gave a 2 to. Once again, going forward, even his forward play at the moment, his link-up play down that line with Elliott and Salah is absolutely shocking. Um, his passing at times is absolutely shocking. His defensive duties is absolutely non-existent. Non-existent. A conversation is going to have to be had about Trent Alexander-Arnold, and someone very quickly is going to have to make up their mind what the hell his position is, because his position can't be his, where Elliott is, where Salah is, and running through the middle as well. Someone's going to have to figure out what they want Trent Alexander-Arnold to do, tell him what they want him to do, coach him what they want him to do, and stop trying to get him to do 3 or 4 different positions. Gomez had an absolute howler, and this was what I spoke about before with Joe Gomez. At times when Joe Gomez is switched on, he can be an absolutely fantastic player. But when Joe Gomez is switched off, boy hell is he absolutely switched off. And he had an absolute shocker tonight, which I'd imagine is going to pan him right down. Lucky even probably to be on a bench going forward, because if Kanate is due back soon and Matip is in there doing what he does, Joe Gomez ain't going to get a sniff of that. Joe Gomez is going to be looking that he's a backup for Trent if Trent gets injured. That's where he's going to be looking. Van Dijk I gave a 3-2. I'm really disappointed in Van Dijk. I know he cleared that ball off the line and stuff like that, but he's just not marshalling his back line at all. He's not being that leader at the back. Very little vocals or anything coming out of him. Has very little to say. Looks bewildered, looks perplexed, looks tired. Second to everything tonight. Being ran off the ball. And just looks totally uninterested. Robbo, I gave a 4-2. Lots of energy and stuff like that, but no real final product and stuff like that. Again, we're wanting for that sort of clinical ball up in the final third when Robbo breaks there. A lot of energy to get there and stuff like that. And this was a tough game tonight. Going to Napoli is a tough game. They're dogged in their approach and stuff like that. They were well prepped. And that's what this was really about. This was really about a team that was really well prepped and put together versus a team that looked like it just rocked up. We didn't look like we were well prepped at all. We looked tired. We looked lethargic. We looked out of ideas. We looked disjointed. And what can we say? Look at the team that went onto the pitch, and look at the team that could have went onto the pitch. And it's really, really bad. Fabinho, I gave a 4-2. I thought he didn't take enough control in the middle there, shadowing the back four and stuff. And at times just looked a bit he looked a bit off it as well, putting in some lazy tackles and stuff like that, where normally he'd be on it a bit more crisp. Elliott, I gave a 5 to. This boy just keeps on trying, and I know 5 is probably harsh for the young lad and stuff like that. Didn't have a great day today, but listen, keeps on trying and stuff like that. But again, he looks absolutely shattered, like he's carrying the weight of the team on his shoulders. And I really feel for the young lad, you know what I mean? The expectation from him and from Carvalho at times when he comes on is way too much, where there's a lot of senior players looking around dumbfounded about what's going on and having no impact on the game, while these kids are expected to make things happen. Milner, I gave a 1-2, and listen, it's nothing against James Milner. I think James Milner's been a fabulous servant for the club, but the time has come. The time has come, and we have to be brutally honest about it. His performances are shocking. We seen it at the weekend. We seen it now. Getting carded. Unlucky to give away the penalty. Your arm is out there. I don't know what your arm is doing out there, but gave away the penalty. The ball struck his arm. But just no impact on the game. Disjointment, petulant tackling, petulant tackling even after getting carded. I was screaming for him to be subbed off because I really thought we had a legit chance of going down to 10 men. I really did. I was really worried about that. And then if we went down to that, then I was worried that this was going to be a cricket score and it could be really embarrassing for Liverpool. Salah, I gave a 3-2, continues to play out there. I know during the game he switched into the middle, really had no impact in the middle. He was crowded out at all. Doesn't seem to have that strength that he had previously in terms of holding up the ball and keeping players off. And players seem to be able to take the ball off him way easier now. Loses the ball, tends to overthink things. Looks like his confidence is in the absolute gutter. Even the one that you seen where he spun in the box and took the shot there, he put the shot right down the throat of the keeper. Normally a Mo Salah who would be on form would be slotting that into one of the corners. Even said it to Ben here watching the game and stuff like that. So unlike Mo Salah, when he turns like that, he'd normally pick out a corner and he'd be gone into the far corner for a goal. But just looks like a player that's absolutely lacking confidence and looks a bit fed up. Um, and he's really missing that link up play that Ted spoke about with Trent and stuff like that. But still, for a player the stature of Mo Salah, who 18 months ago was the best player on the planet, the drop off has been absolutely monumental. Um, Coinciding as well with the new contract and all the other upheaval that was before that. Um, but he's a pale reflection of the Mo Salah that was playing prior to the AFCON in January. And I just don't know. Again, another huge task for Klopp to figure out. But I think if you're going to have him out there hugging that sideline, I think it's a waste of time because players have figured out they just double up on him or triple up on him and he doesn't do anything. Diaz, I gave a 7-2. I thought he showed endeavour all night. I thought he chased things down. I think he was the one guy going in on the goalkeeper and all, trying to chase things down and make things happen. Looked really, really frustrated at times, having to run down sort of cul-de-sacs basically, right, trying to get balls through to people and stuff like that. Did score a lovely goal. But you can see there's frustration in him as well, you know what I mean? Just things are not clicking, whatever way it is up front, be it personnel, be it formation, whatever it is, just not happening. Bobby, I gave a 2-2, just kept on dropping deep all night long, leaving that gaping hole in there for no reason. Played more like another midfielder than he did a guy up front. But really poor from Bobby tonight, never got into the game. And a number of players tonight as well, even pulling out of tackles and stuff like that, which I absolutely hate. It drives me insane when I see players pulling out of tackles. But yeah, an absolutely really bad night at the office. I didn't do the subs. As you can imagine, we've already spoke about them. They had a huge effect. Well, let's see now what changes. Let's start with I'll go back through the comments here and see. Start with Keane. What changes from now to Wolves do you think? Wholesale changes? If Diego Costa's deal goes through by the weekend, he will cost us a lot of problems. I don't know. It depends, Keane, how much he's been playing and stuff like that, and whether Bruno would throw him in there straight away and stuff like that. I don't know how much activity he's had and stuff like that. Plus, it's a greatly aged Diego Costa coming back into the Premier League, so we'll have to see. In terms of changes, I think you're probably looking at the team that nearly finished tonight as probably the team that should start, depending on whoever else comes back from injury and stuff like that. But that's going to be another tough game. It's going to be every game now for us. This is going to be the kind of season where every game now is going to be really, really tough for us. We'll go on a run of winning a couple of games, then we'll get a draw, then we might get a loss. It's going to just be that sort of transitional season, I think. I can't see, with the body language at the moment, with the motivation, with the desire, with all that stuff that's lacking, I can't see how this team can put together a run. I'd even be shocked at this stage, and I'm calling it now. I know it's the first game in the group and it's a tough place to go. I'd be shocked if we get out of that group. And that's a big call for us. Let's take Marky. We're always talking about the keepers. I felt for Alisson tonight, lads. We're piss poor in front of him. As bad as you were, fair play to Napoli. They still had a job to do and did it very well. Absolutely hats off to Napoli. Napoli were absolutely brilliant today. As I said, they had a game plan, they had a structure, they were put together, and they were lucky. They were unlucky, I should say, that it wasn't more. That game could have been 5 or 6-1 easily. And the tone was set again. The tone was set again in the first 10 minutes of the game. We go behind to a goal. But look what happened with Usman as well when he ran through there and took the ball, beat Alisson to it and stuff like that, and was unlucky with the follow-up and he hit the post. I mean, we were so lucky, but that's the energy that has to be there. And that's the energy you have to bring out onto the pitch right from minute one. And we haven't been doing that. We've been falling behind in games. We've been going behind. We haven't been bringing that out. We've been starting slow, lethargic. You know, I don't know what it is. It's so unlike Liverpool in terms of work rate, so unlike Klopp's teams and stuff like that, which normally come out on the pitch with high energy, ready to go on the press and stuff like that. It's like we're sitting back and surveying the landscape before we decide what to do. And I called it tonight. I said, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go out there. I said it earlier. I said, we're going to go 3-0 down, and then he's going to unleash the players off the bench, and it's going to be too late, and those players will make a difference. And it's absolutely shocking. But Marky, 100%, absolutely felt from. Ted back again. Gomez with one of the worst defensive performances I've ever seen. Yeah, it was like he was like the carriest version of goalkeeping, really, wasn't it? It was really, really poor. But look, just a big lad getting bullied off the ball. Just doesn't, it's just one of those things where he switches off, then he tries to recover. He's awkward in the recovery. But look at what the build up to that was. The build up to that was he took a ball nearly in midfield, simple layoff pass there for him, or a pass forward, tries to pirouette like a ballerina, gets caught up in himself and all tangled, loses the ball, and then has to try and recover. Shocking, absolutely shocking at that level. And I keep on saying to people, you've got FSG sitting there lying on beds of money like the two boys in Breaking Bad, and they don't give a toss. And you've got Klopp there standing front and centre, having to put on that face of finding solutions within the squad and all this kind of absolute nonsense. There's so many players in that squad now don't deserve to be even sitting in the stadium watching Liverpool play, near long play for them. Absolutely shocking. But yeah, we'll go again on Wednesday. We'll go again at the weekend against Wolves, and then we'll be back, I think, next week again with Champions League. It's going to be a tough one. Yeah, I just shell shocked. I just don't have the answer. I'm shell shocked at the desire and the performance and the energy. I'm not shell shocked at the result, because we've been winging it. The Bournemouth game, I said already, was an anomaly. We were very, very lucky in the Newcastle game. We were shocking in the Fulham game. We weren't great in the Palace game. United absolutely slapped us up. And it's been coming. And that form that you see there, look at the Everton game at the weekend. How do you put on a performance like that and then you expect it to lift the performance away to Napoli, who won't tolerate any of that? And this is where we are. It's going to be a tough season. But the one thing you can be guaranteed on is I'm going to be here every game, giving my match reaction, giving my thoughts, giving my previews, player ratings and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, I think it's going to be a very long season for us Reds. But let's see what happens. I shall be back before the weekend with a preview for the Wolves game. Once I gather my thoughts. And of course there'll be a match reaction at the weekend. And then we'll be looking out towards next weekend. See, can we look that far ahead? Until next time, Reds. Try and keep a little bit of faith, but it's going to be tough. And all over the park, they need a wake-up call, and Klopp with a huge job to do. I'll preface this by saying Tuchel was sacked for less, but I'm not Klopp out, I'm Klopp in. Until next time, Reds. Thanks for everyone who was in the comments. If you want to contact the show, supertierpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, before you go, hit the like and smash the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. And as always, if you want us, you'll get us out there on Twitter with all these top Reds telling me about how the starting lineup tonight was the strongest starting lineup that Klopp could have went with. I nearly fell off my seat and broke my back. Nearly I couldn't watch the match. Till next time, a pleasure.